Welcome back to Jeff Willett's Muscle Hub, home of my weekly Q&A show and all of my YouTube video updates. Thank you for your question submissions this week. We have some really good ones. And remember, your questions can range from any type of bodybuilding or fitness topics or even those some about my career. We have some good ones today, so let's jump right into it. Question number 1 comes from Derek Isaac, and this came through YouTube. And he wants to know, what are my thoughts on intermittent fasting? Well, in looking into it a little bit, there's a lot of different variations of intermittent fasting, and I don't claim to be an expert on this approach, but in general what it is strategic timing of periods of time of not eating. And I'm going to address this strictly from a body composition standpoint. I'm sure you can lose weight that way and get a degree of results, but when we're talking about maximizing body composition, maximum fat loss, and maximum muscle gain, I have found the best approach to be supplying consistent nutrition strategically throughout the day. And that means, clumping our carbohydrates and our whey isolates right around our workout time in that bubble that I talk about, and then the rest of the day having consistent protein intake. And I think that's important from a muscle building and muscle preservation standpoint when you're trying to lose fat. And in my approach, rather than going through periods of not eating at all, we stay consistent with nutritional intake, but we do a gradual skimming of total calories to really isolate on the fat loss. Question 2 comes from Pavi415. This came through YouTube. He wants to know, when I take a week off training, is it okay to still do max OT cardio? And he's referencing that in max OT training, after every 8 to 10 weeks, we want to take a complete week off of training, and this is for maximal physical and mental recovery. If your goal is maximum fat burning, or if you're more of a fat loss phase is a priority, then it's okay to still do your max OT cardio in that off training week to help keep your metabolism elevated and help expend some more energy. If you're more of a maximum muscle building phase, I would not do any cardio that week either. Just follow smart nutrition to still supply that support to help you recover during that week. Question 3 comes from Joaquim Rafus, and this came from Facebook. And he wants to know, what body fat percentage do you recommend in the off season when trying to get the most out of your workouts? I've never really measured a body fat percentage number-wise, not when I was competing and certainly not in the off-season, so I don't have a number, but I think what you want to do is you want to be smart. You don't want to get sloppy. Gaining a lot of fat or extra bad weight is not going to help you gain more muscle. It's not going to help you be stronger. It's just that much more junk you got to get rid of when you're trying to get leaner. So rather than have a set percentage, I would go visual. And to me, there would be a reasonable level of body fat that I would feel comfortable having. I would still want to see a certain amount of hardness and definition on the waistline, and again, not get too sloppy, because the more sloppy you get, it's just that much more you have to try to get rid of later. And that's another reason why I don't really like the term bulking up, because bulking and just gaining weight for the sake of gaining weight doesn't help your muscle building ability. So stay reasonable, don't gain a bunch of bad weight, stay in decent condition where you can still see a reasonable amount of separation and hardness, and that's going to help you out when it is time to get leaner. Question 4 comes from Devang Perketh, and this is from Twitter, and wants to know, after a show, did you ever reward yourself and experience weight gain or extra water, and how did you deal with it? Boy, did I ever, especially when I was younger. Just after a show, gorging and having this idea that I had to eat everything I ever wanted in one day. And boy, and yeah, did I get effects, of course, sick to my stomach and bloated and just miserable. And I did that a lot when I was younger, but the older and wiser I got, the less and less I did that. And I started to realize I don't have to eat every single thing that I want in one day. And the more that you can be reasonable and smart about that after coming off a long preparation, the less rebound that you have. And it's much healthier. I mean, after you've deprived yourself and done gradual caloric reductions for a long time, then to just dump all that food in there, you're going to have some effects, and they're probably not going to be very pretty. So my advice would be is just be reasonable about it. Certainly reward yourself, but gradually add that food back in. You have plenty of time to have the foods that you enjoy. And coincidentally, the year that I was best about it, and probably no surprise, was also the year I had the best contest, and that was after 2002. I had a mindset going into the 2003 year that I was going to be really, really smart. So coming off of a contest, I didn't really go crazy at all, and I used all that momentum and great condition to help me propel myself into the 2003 competition year, and that ultimately was the best year I ever had. Question number 5 comes from Steve Briggs, and this came through Facebook. And he wants to know, how beneficial do I feel mental training is, or visualization, or hypnosis is to both diet and exercise. He's read several pros use hypnosis as part of training, and would I recommend it? Yes, I am very big on visualization and always have been. I use it to help before training, before cardio, and even when making certain decisions with my diet. And what I used to help me the most, my favorite tool, was this book. The Arnold Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding has awesome pictures, and I use this book all the time throughout my career, not for the training or the diet advice, but for the great photography. So what I'd like to do is, before a certain body part, I would flip to the pages. If it was a chest workout, I'd look at those great vintage photos of all that, great bodybuilders, classic bodybuilders, and that would help me get in the right frame of mind before my workout. So maybe something like this would work for you, or maybe you have your own book, but whatever it is, really connect to the vision of what you want to achieve, and then it'll get you in a great frame of mind to maximize your workout. Well, that wraps up this week's questions. I want to thank you again for submitting your questions, and keep sending them in because you guys drive the show. Your questions are what makes it happen and what makes it interesting. So keep submitting them. You can send them through Twitter, through Facebook, through YouTube, and you can hashtag them AskJW. And I want to remind you that coming soon is my Muscle Masterclass, which is going to be available as a video on demand. So stay connected for all those details of its release date. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Now let's go out and execute.